It's time now for Artist Spotlight with Ashley Meservey.
So every artist has a beginning. Some artists are musicians, some are poets, some are painters. I just so happen to be a photographer. I took a few different art classes in high school, and there was times where I would just go out with a camera and snap photos and all that, not knowing that was kind of like a preview for what I would be doing later on in life. I really feel like I blossomed as a photographer through a very dark point of my life. It was 4 years ago. I battled depression off and on for years, like from childhood to even adulthood. And back in 2016, I was just in a really dark spot in my life. There's a true healing power in art. I just noticed when I picked up my camera again, things really changed for me. I became a much happier person. I've really found a passion in life again, and you do what makes you happy, and eventually things will click together. There's no shortcut to being truly great at your craft. It takes investment, not just investment with money, but it also takes investment of your time. The most important thing a photographer can have isn't the most expensive camera, the most expensive light, the latest gear. It's always having a creative eye, and that's something that is practice. Practice makes perfect. It takes walking around even without your camera and just looking at different subjects, whether it's a person or looking at even as something as mundane as a piece of pottery or a bowl. It's an investment of being aware of what is around you and how you can make it look the best it can possibly look. Over the years, I invested my time and money into my passion for photography. I was always told that the most important part of any photographer's gear is the camera lenses that you get. So I have about 7 lenses now, and for a variety of different purposes. I have a 50mm, which is kind of like my first love as far as my lenses, because that gives you like a natural look and feel to it. My favorite lens is definitely my 24-70 lens. That one gets me a real nice wide angle, and then I can also zoom in and get a real nice depth of field on my subject. I didn't spend money just to spend money, of course. I always strive to take my work to the next level. Improving never stops. I'm one of those people who I'm not willing to accept less than best. It's very hard to, especially since I live in what feels like one of the most underrated and overlooked places in the world. Living in Charleston itself, honestly, is just inspiration. You could take a walk by the Pineapple Fountain late at night and just see the beautiful gold color of the fountain along with the moon that's out and people walking around. The saying always goes, you can't go to one place without going to another place first. Well, I'm very appreciative of just the doors that have opened for me since I picked up a camera. I started out as a floor director who was just wiping down tables, but I had such an interest in photography. I would go out with the camera time to time, and my boss at the time was very appreciative of the hard work I was doing and really liked the work I was giving, so she promoted me to being a news photographer. I would go out and cover big breaking news or just general stories, or even the biggest news stories that have ever happened in Charleston. After moving on from news, I went into living local with you, Ashley. To your credit, you're always patient with me, whether I wanted to bump the camera just a little bit more to the left or right, or take more time to set up. As a photographer, you have the responsibility of being a true artist. The power of greatness and mediocrity is truly in your hands.